There comes a moment in life when everything starts to feel hollow. We wake up, follow the same routines, go through the motions, and yet, something inside us feels empty. The joy we once had as children, the ability to laugh freely, to be excited by the simplest things, slowly fades away. We find ourselves constantly searching for something to fill that void. Some seek it in wealth, believing that if they just had more money, they would finally be happy. Others seek it in love, hoping that the right person will make them feel complete. Some chase achievements, thinking that once they reach the pinnacle of success, they will finally feel at peace. But no matter how much we acquire, how many goals we achieve, or how much love we receive, something always seems to be missing. And so, the search continues, an endless cycle of wanting, chasing, and waiting for happiness to arrive. But what if happiness is not something that needs to be found? What if it is already here, hidden beneath the noise of our desires and fears? The Sufis, mystics of the heart, understood this secret centuries ago. They walked away from the endless chase and discovered something far greater than temporary pleasure. They found a way to truly love life, not because it was perfect, but because they learned how to see its beauty in every moment. Their wisdom is not just ancient poetry or philosophy. It is a way of living that can transform the way you experience the world. And once you embrace it, you will never see life the same way again. Jalal al-Din Rumi, one of the greatest Sufi poets, wrote, "Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop." Life is constantly changing, but we resist it. We cling to the past, fearing loss, and we grasp at the future, fearing uncertainty. But Sufis teach that to truly love life, we must let go of control. Most of our suffering comes from our need to control everything around us. We want life to unfold exactly as we imagine. We want people to behave the way we expect. We want success to come when we demand it, and happiness to arrive on our terms. But life does not work that way. No matter how much we try to plan, life will always have its own rhythm. People will leave. Opportunities will slip away. The unexpected will happen. And when it does, we feel anxious, angry, or lost. But the truth is, control is an illusion. The more we try to grip life tightly, the more we suffer. It is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Sufis embrace this reality with open arms. They do not resist change. They flow with it. Like a river moving effortlessly through obstacles, they surrender to life rather than fight against it. Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form, Rumi reminds us. This surrender is not weakness. It is ultimate freedom. When you stop trying to control everything, you feel a lightness inside, as if a weight has been lifted from your soul. You no longer fear the unknown because you trust that whatever happens is exactly as it should be. Another secret the Sufis hold is the power of the present moment. One of the greatest illusions we believe is, "I will be happy when." We convince ourselves that happiness is always in the future, when we get the perfect job, when we find the right partner, when we achieve our goals. But the future is just an idea. It does not exist. The only thing that is real is this moment, right here, right now. Yet, how often do we truly live in it? Our minds are either trapped in the past, replaying old mistakes and regrets, or racing ahead into the future, worrying about things that have not even happened. In doing so, we miss the only moment that truly matters, the now. Hafiz, another great Sufi poet, wrote, "This moment is all there is." The Sufis practice complete presence in everything they do. Whether they are drinking tea, walking, or even breathing, they do it with full awareness, as if it is the only thing that exists. They remind us that happiness is not something to chase. It is something to notice. It is in the feeling of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the taste of fresh bread, the simple beauty of being alive. When you learn to be fully present, every moment becomes a gift. You no longer feel like life is passing you by because you are finally here, experiencing it completely. One of the most profound teachings of Sufism is love. Love not just as an emotion, but as a way of being. The world has taught us that love is about attachment. We say, "I love you because you make me happy," or "I love you as long as you stay with me." But this kind of love is fragile. It is based on conditions, on possession, on fear. The Sufis teach a different kind of love, one that is unconditional and free. They say, love, not because you need something in return, but because love is your nature. True love does not cling, does not demand, does not try to own. It simply flows, like a river, expecting nothing, yet nourishing everything in its path. Rabi' al-Adawiyah, one of the most famous Sufi mystics, once said, "I have two ways of loving you, a selfish one and another way that is worthy of you." She understood love in its purest form, not as a transaction, but as a state of being. True love does not seek to possess, it simply gives. When you love freely, without attachment, you remove the pain that comes from needing others to fulfill you. You realize that love is not something to be received, it is something to be given. And when you give love without expectation, life becomes infinitely more beautiful. Sufis also understood something that modern society has forgotten. Simplicity is the key to joy. We live in a world that constantly tells us that more is better. More money, more possessions, more status. But have you ever noticed that the people who have the most are often the most restless? They always want something more, something bigger, something better. Meanwhile, the Sufis live by a different rule: less is more. Happiness is not in accumulating, it is in appreciating. You do not need endless possessions to be happy. You do not need an extravagant lifestyle to feel fulfilled. Joy is found in the smallest, simplest things: the warmth of a cup of tea, the sound of rain, the feeling of grass beneath your feet. The more you simplify your desires, the more you realize that you already have everything you need. But perhaps the most powerful lesson the Sufis teach is to dance with life. Life is unpredictable. It has moments of joy and moments of sorrow, times of gain and times of loss. But instead of fearing change, Sufis embrace it like a dance. They do not resist what life brings, they move with it. There is a famous Sufi practice called the whirling dervish dance, where they spin in circles, arms open, surrendering to the rhythm of the universe. This is not just a physical movement, it is a philosophy of life. It means accepting everything, whether good or bad, with an open heart. If life gives you sorrow, dance with it. If life brings you happiness, embrace it fully. Everything is part of a greater harmony, even if we do not see it in the moment. So how do you love life again? Let go of control. Live in the present. Love freely. Simplify your desires. And dance with whatever life brings. Once you do, you will see that happiness was never missing. It was always here, waiting for you to notice. Life is not something to fear, to control, or to struggle against. It is something to experience, to embrace, to celebrate. And when you learn to do this, you will not only love life again, you will fall in love with it completely.